Okay, we're back, and we are coming into Brazil. I made a mistake, so I had to restore and had to bring us back in. Anyway, we're back at the same spot. I also had, when I was going to originally tape, I actually had missed a text box for you folks, so I don't want you to miss out on one jot, one tittle, one word from the Gold Rush game. So I'll make sure you get everything, and we are going into the port of Brazil, and we'll find out a few things about it. And apparently a ship is coming in to take us into town, I guess. Every person on board is looking forward going ashore. You have been like a caged animal on the ship for nearly 6 weeks. Apparently the natives here don't rip you off like in Panama either, at least not according to the text. Ships of every kind, brigs, barks, brigantines, schooners, clippers, steamers come from nearly every country. Whaling cargo, passenger, and even slave ships come and go. I guess slavery was still legal in the U.S. obviously, but I think the slave trade, at least in the U.S., had been outlawed. But maybe not in South America. Anyway, the stay in Rio normally lasts about 10 days. Could be more, could be less, depending on the extent of the repairs. During this time, supplies, including coal, wood, fresh water, and food, are replenished. Small repairs are made, and the ship is prepared for the next leg of the journey. The fruit here is plentiful. You manage to secure more of the fruit to which you attribute your good health. Well, we also have our own fruit, too. I mean, maybe that warded off scurvy for the first part of the journey. That's probably the case. This is a fine, well-protected southern harbor, which makes it a favorite stopping point for ships preparing to round the perilous Cape Horn. Alrighty. So, not too much. We don't get out or anything. And now we're heading back out. So, it seems like every leg of this journey has a lot of sort of animation that sort of talks your way through it. Which I guess makes some sense, makes it somewhat educational. So if you're a kid watching this, you can say to your parent or teacher that you were doing homework while watching videos on YouTube. Alright, just south of Rio, the captain advises you that you have crossed the Tropic of Capricorn, that invisible line on the globe at 23 degrees, 27 minutes south latitude that separates the torrid zone from the south temperate zone. Most passengers on board have little use for such trivia, but it is reassuring to know you're making progress. And there is Cape Horn, I believe. Rumors are starting to spread about the difficult times you are going to encounter in a few short weeks. You hear horror stories about getting around Cape Horn. Yeah, it's pretty close to Antarctica, isn't it? It's got to be reasonably close at least. That's probably pretty cold down there. Yeah, passing the 45th parallel, the temperature begins to drop. Passengers begin spending more time below deck. When you left Brooklyn, it was dead of summer. It seems to have slipped everyone's mind, at least until now, that June is the dead of winter here. The freezing temperatures are making this painfully clear. That's a good point. I guess you don't really think about that if you're traveling. Most of the time you don't travel that much or that far that the seasons are going to change. Captains vary in age, experience, and wisdom. But all captains, no matter what their backgrounds or experience, approach the Cape with great respect. They all realize that they are extremely vulnerable to the elements. As you approach the southern tip of South America, the captain advises all persons aboard the sea you are about to encounter attains a degree of violence unknown in any part of the globe. Any other part of the globe. You are in the midst of a terrible storm, and the ship is taking on water. Everything that wasn't absolutely essential to the continuation of the voyage has been thrown overboard, so this is the point where we lose everything once again. Fortunately, the gold coin, as always, is still in our pocket. Jake's letter, along with the gold flake under stamp, was in your hip pocket, so that also remains with us yet again. Photo was with us, and the Bible wasn't thrown overboard. Everybody agreed to keep that. For a little surprise. Everything else now belongs to the raging sea. Okay, so I think it's time for a brief pause, and we are back. I was just saving the game, obviously, and it looks like we're in some tough terrain. Whoa! The ship's getting pounded. And I think this is the part where there can be random events. I hope it doesn't cause us that to actually restart from the beginning, but can we sleep? No time for that. None of these men are interested in talking right now. They're worrying whether the ship will survive the storm. What's the worry? So I guess the stagecoach actually does seem like the best route. I'm going to talk to these guys, but one thing what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to show you... Usually I don't show you random deaths, but this one seems kind of funny. Oop, Jared's trying to hold on. Woo! The howling wind is too much for you. You're blown overboard to an icy grave. Okay. And it's pretty funny that the thing will keep going on, even though Jared's toast. So you can see what happens, even in a world without Jared. But who would want to live in a world like that? So we're not going to go out there, but I just thought I'd show you that. Usually I don't waste your time with those things, but that one's a little more creative. Anyway, the engine man says, I have complete faith in these engines, but I have my doubts about the ship. I hope we make it. The man at the table says, right now I wish I was back in Pennsylvania with my family. This ship sounds like it's going to come apart. Well, I guess greed doesn't always pay off. The cook says, the only time I don't think about food is when I'm in a storm around in Cape Horn. I just hope the ship doesn't break up. As you notice, the pig was actually on the deck. I guess he can withstand the winds. There's our buddy. With great concern, you ask Eric, how have you been lately? Eric replies, I'm doing tolerably well. However, if conditions get any worse, I don't know if I'll make it. Well, I don't think any of us will make it if they get much worse. Maybe he's referring to only to his own conditions. I don't know. And I don't think these guys will actually talk to us, just because they're somewhat busy for some reason. The captain yells, don't bother me with small talk right now, young man. I got my hands full. What about the first mate? The first mate doesn't even realize you're talking to him. He is intently listening to each command of the captain. Well, I'm glad to see they're taking it seriously. Kind of funny, we can actually go into his quarters and look around. So we can actually, I guess, there's not too much to do. I guess we can just, well, let me save it for you. Okay, we're back. I just saved it just in case. I guess we can go to the next scene. I don't know if I want to risk getting too crunched on time, but I guess we can always just pause it, so it's not a big deal. We'll move on, and then we'll see what happens afterwards. Just before rounding Cape Horn, the captain points out Deceit Rock, which are colored white. Deceit Rocks, which are colored white from the bird droppings. All right, so it looks like the ship made it. Around the West Cape, from east to west, is not an easy task. If all goes well, it is usual for a sailing ship to allow 3 to 5 weeks to get to the west side of the Horn. One thing I do like is that actually it does give you these periodic chances to talk to people and move around, unlike the other portions. Winds in the area of the Cape rarely blow less than 45 miles per hour, and almost always from the west. Gales in this area can easily pick up a schooner and smash into the rocky shore. Wow. Raging seas are a temperature of melting ice. You scarcely get 6 hours of daylight. When it is light, it is of little benefit. The overcast hugs the seas, and visibility is very low. It is not uncommon for it to snow here in the summertime. The captain is continuously looking through his looking glass, keeping track of the ship's progress and position. He also makes entries into his log religiously. Nowhere is navigation more difficult than in these waters. Some sailing ships would take 70 days to round the Cape. Some ships would turn back because of the damage the sea has done to them. Some ships would not make it at all. Occasionally you see floating wreckage and debris from less fortunate vessels. That's probably not the encouragement you want. Oh, no. This is, I think, the game's way of telling us we have cholera, and I may have to do some work offline for you folks, but the hunched over Jared is not looking good. Can we eat our fruit? No, we don't have any fruit to eat. Okay, so we're still getting pounded, and it looks like Jared is on his last leg. And that is all, folks. There was nothing you could do. Sometimes terrible things happen. That would be cholera. That would be our tip that we have to go back and do some work. So I'm going to do that offline, and it might be a little while till we get the next video up. I did these 3 back to back to back. Unfortunately, it looks like Sierra was not interested in letting me do 4 back to back. So that concludes this. Jared's toast. We're dead. The cholera has knocked on our door, but our misery is over. And not only is our misery over, this video is over. We'll see you next time, hopefully back here with a healthy Jared. Until then, bye.